Good evening, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Urbana Community Development Meeting, and we'll proceed with our agenda. The meeting will now come to order, and next is roll call.
Fred Cobb,
Here.
Janice Bankston, Chris Diana,
Here.
Jerry Moreland,
Here.
Lisa Beth Searing,
Here.
and Heinz Silvis. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay. Next is approval or correction of the minutes. We have minutes from July 22nd, so we'll take a moment to think about those, after which I'll entertain a motion for approval or corrections. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval or corrections. Someone? Okay, we have a motion to approve those minutes as written. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the July 22nd minutes as written. Are there any comments, questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the minutes are approved as written. Okay, next is petitions and communications. This is for those in the audience. If you wish to come up and discuss something that's not on our agenda, now is the time to do so. Do you have anything during the
Yeah.
agenda?
Yeah, she'll speak after the agenda item.
Okay. Okay, we have no petitions or communications. Next, we have staff report. Kelly?
Yes, as you'll see, basically the only HUD activity was that we had received our authority to use grant funds, and so we're just waiting on the funds to come into IDIS from the Department of Treasury. And then you can see all the activities that myself and Jen and Randy did, as well as meetings that we attended. So that's our staff report.
Any questions or comments from commissioners? If not, thank you very much.
Excuse me, Fred.
yeah.
Just one question. Actually, it goes back to the minutes there. I was just wondering, one of the things that I'd asked about last time was if we knew what the bid amounts for demolition on those Urbana townhomes were.
Right.
I don't know if you had an opportunity to check with Randy on that.
I apologize.
no problem.
I will definitely get that for
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
A bit of old business there. Okay.
You call that minutes business or what?
Okay, next we have, covered it up. Old business. Any issues from prior meetings or not? If not, we'll go ahead with the new business. This evening, we're going to talk about an item under the CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grant. We have the Consolidated Social Service Funding Pool CDBG subrecipient agreements for fiscal year 2014-15. Okay, we have an explanation of that in our packet, and Kelly, would you like to elaborate?
Sure. Basically, what this is the agreement with the Consolidated Social Service Funding recipients, and it's specifically with our CDBG funds. So this year, there were 2 agencies that received partial CDBG and either City General Fund or Cunningham Township, and that is Community Elements, specifically for the Roundhouse, Youth Shelter, and then Courage Connection, formerly Center for Women in Transition, their domestic violence services. And as you can see on the second page, it shows at our March meeting, the Community Development Commission had selected priorities, and these 2 agencies fulfill those priorities. Community Elements meets the seniors or the youth part priority and homelessness, and then Courage Connection, the domestic violence services, also meet homelessness and special needs population. So, so that's
Okay.
basically the
So
gist of the memo. Any questions or comments?
Any questions, comments? So we are hitting our targets, and the amount of money being expended from CDBG would be a total of $5,000.
Yes, with the 1,000 going to Community Elements and 4,000 to Courage Connection for that 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah, on page 2 it shows the total allocation that the City Council chose for the agencies.
Okay, any comments? Did anyone in the
Okay.
audience want to speak to
Yeah,
that?
this is Sheila Ferguson. She's the CEO for Community Elements, and she's here to share some information, give some statistics about how they're doing in their programs.
Okay.
Hi,
Hello.
welcome the opportunity just to give you a brief update of our 2014, which we just finished, June 30th fiscal year for Roundhouse. Just a little bit of history. Community Elements has been operating Roundhouse since 2003 when Chassis Children's Home and Aid Society moved out of the Champaign area. We're really pleased that we were able to do that, and working with the Continuum of Care and all the housing providers in town, we do fill a niche. In 2013, we served 49 unduplicated children under the age of 18 in our Roundhouse shelter. Average length of stay was around 5 to 7 days, but for some of the older kids, and now I'll talk a little bit about them, we do serve children, and we call them children too, but 18 through 23, and that's because DCFS is still involved with the children and some of the regulations around homeless youth of children who were wards of the state were allowed to serve them for a little bit longer. And so this older transitioning age youth and young adult, their average in stays of 1 to 2 months, and that allowed us to get things like school completed and make sure that the support plan and their self-sufficiency was strong enough. We're allowed, using some of the funds that we received, to provide rental vouchers in the community, which we monitor, and also provide those services like the self-sufficiency, financial literacy, and things like that that make it possible for these youth and young adults to not see homelessness. So, and to thank the committee, and we're grateful for the funding we receive.
Okay. All right. How does this amount of satisfy your needs?
This funding is slightly up over last year, I think roughly about $1,000. I'm looking at Kelly because I think that's a rough estimate. And certainly with everything else at the state level being cut or reduced, we're fortunate to have it. We also use funding like this that we receive from local entities such as yourself to provide the match that we need at the federal level. So The grant operations are primarily funded through federal basic center or runaway and homeless youth dollars. And so by having these local dollars, we can demonstrate to the federal government that we have local support, and then we can meet the match for those grants, which are highly competitive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
The CDBG dollars count as local support even though they're funneled through?
Yeah, we show.
I'm not sure who I'm asking that.
Well,
about.
we have lots of match, but one of the things that you can get certainly on points for is to demonstrate your local support. And letters of support or funding like that are used in grants. And I think for Roundhouse, primarily our contributions to support the program that are used for federal match. If they're pass-through dollars, we do make a distinction, and we're
Okay.
fortunate to have match that meets or exceeds the requirements. That's a good question.
Okay, anyone else?
So what you're saying as well is this allocation helps justify you as well as the city of Urbana to the federal government as far as you're meeting the needs of the community or your
Yes.
purpose.
Especially if, for example, in the consolidated plan, a lot of the identification of the problems in Champaign help drive the services. And for our agency, our mission is to meet the needs. And so if the commission or if the city council views a need that's unmet, we'll come together around that issue and see if there's potential to increase funding or start or stop programs that are working or not working. So,
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, we have three options regarding this issue. We can forward the resolution approving the CSSF CDBG agreement with community development, with community elements / Roundhouse and Courage Connections / domestic violence services to the Urbana City Council with a recommendation for approval. We can suggest changes, or we can not recommend the resolution. And further, it states that there is no impact to the city budget because the $5,000 that is provided is included in the City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium Annual Action Plan. Okay, I have a question on the fiscal impact, which I've asked before. It stated that there's no impact to the city budget. What about well, I think the city has someone that monitors their budget as far as what's going to affect it. I was wondering, what is the impact to the community development block grant objectives?
As far as the
If we can get a
5,000?
clarification, as far as community development, how does that affect community development programs?
How does community?
Does it help fulfill the programs?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, all of our activities and programs are listed in our annual action plan, and so, which also has the budget for all the programs. So this 5,000 was already listed in the annual action plan.
Right. It
and-
doesn't detract from any other.
No, it does not.
Yeah,
Nope.
okay.
We include it with our budget in all of our programs, so it doesn't
Mhm.
detract from anything else.
Okay.
In our program, in our department, in our division even, so.
Okay. With that in mind, I'll entertain a motion to forward a recommendation for forwarding the agreements, or modification of the agreement, or denying the agreement. Approval.
I would move that we forward the resolution to the city council for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to forward the resolutions approving the agreements. Any further discussion or comments?
Just clarification just on what you were asking, and I'm assuming that this is the 5,000 that was of CDBG funds that was tagged for the purpose of,
Yes.
so this is basically where it comes out of that process.
Right, yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's, yes, you can see in the annual action plan, and this is the 5,000
Right.
that is for
Okay.
the social service, public service funding.
Good, thanks.
Okay, with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay. That is our one and only item under new business. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring before the commission? If not, thank you for participation, and meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.